Gabby, let's talk about foundations. Cameras, software, and hardware.
And apps.
Yeah.
Camera, software, hardware, and apps.
All right. Do you want to know about my cameras?
Yeah. What are you using to film?
All right. They say the best camera you have is the camera that you have on you, which is very true, and I think something to keep in mind because everybody's budgets and resources are going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
So you might be using your personal phone as a therapist. My advice would be to try not to as much as possible because it's, first it's therapy. So then you're diving into these boundaries of you are having the images of your clients on your personal device. So if at all possible, do not use yours. And depending where you're at, you might not, it would be frowned against anyway. So I never use mine to record anything. So thankfully we've been able to, I started off with an iPod Touch with the camera. The first generation of an iPod Touch with the camera to shoot my first video with the resident and edited it in iMovie. Awesome experience. I wish I could show that one. Then started using iPads because it had better resolution. Then a DSLR that I just borrowed from downstairs somebody in communication, which I still have. I think they forgot I have it. And then eventually, once the facility was acknowledging the work I was doing with the kids and wanted to do stuff more for the facility, they actually bought a camera. They bought an FS5, which looks like this, a Sony FS5. Ooh, yes. So you can connect a boom mic to it. You can connect wireless mics to it. It goes on this massive tripod. And then we also got another lens to go with it, an 85mm. I still don't know the difference between different lenses. Those are my goals in the future, to learn more about lenses. And it can control a lot of things like white balance, frame rate, shutter. It's got an ND filter, whatever that is. And you can plug in 2 XLR cables into it. So like any mic that has an XLR cable to it, you can plug directly into it, which is nice. Which is pretty sweet.
That's really convenient, yeah.
And then it has 2 slots for SD cards. So when one fills up, it just keeps recording to the other one. So I've been very fortunate enough to have some good things, as well as one of the photographers that comes and takes pictures of our big events. He donated one of these DJI Osmo Pocket, I think is what it's called. It's a gimbal. It's a 4K camera on a gimbal that stabilizes the footage. Makes a huge difference because it's so little, and you can hold it up and get down low at different angles. And then using all those different cameras in conjunction together have made for some pretty fun videos.
Yeah. Yeah, I personally, at the companies that I've worked with, we haven't been able to get, any sort of camera for our facility just because of budget. So I'm having to use my personal stuff, but all the footage that I have, like immediately after it's done filming, I put it onto a hard drive or onto some sort of storage device, and then I delete it immediately from like my phone or camera. So I just use my phone or my iPad, and then I also have a DSLR camera, and I have 2 different lenses. So this one is I think 18 to 55, and then this one I have a little smaller one, 50 millimeter, and they just film at different sizes and get different angles. Yeah.
And that's where you can get a lot of neat shots with, like the first video you showed has a lot of fun, like focus points that I think you can get with lenses that you can't really get with
a phone. Yeah.
Have fun with focus and the depth of field. I think once, as soon as anyone can shift to sort of filming on those things, I think it opens the quality of the video up a lot. So you can focus on what you as, the clinician or therapist or / director, what you want to focus on. A little bit easier.
Yeah. Yeah. So once we're done filming, What kind of software or apps do we use to edit?
I started off way back when on iMovie,
Mm-hmm.
because it comes on every Mac.
Mm-hmm.
You can do a lot with it.
Yeah.
You can still do green screen. You could do a little picture-in-picture. One thing that is hard to do, or I can't quite remember anymore, is like layering lots of green screen things on and animating those things. So to do some of those extended techniques, you'll have to go up to something a little bit more robust, like Final Cut Pro or Adobe Premiere.
Mm.
I'm currently using Final Cut. We did Premiere for maybe 2 years, but it's just so expensive because they're a subscription-based model.
Yeah.
So Final Cut Pro is $300 down, but we paid that 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know a long time ago, we were still getting free updates. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I am not a Mac, but I have everything else Apple. So eventually I'll switch over to Mac. So on my computer itself, I use VSDC Video Editor, which is a free video editor, and it's very similar to Final Cut. It just looks a little bit different interface-wise. And then if I'm doing something really quick on my phone, that I'm just editing something that a client made, and I'm, saving it directly to whatever storage we have, I'll use iMovie, like the actual app on my phone or on my iPad. And then also there's this newer online cloud-based video editor that, again, depending on your facility's privacy policies and things like that, you might not want to use it, but it's called Capwing. And it's cool because it's almost like Google Docs as well. So you can, if you're working on a video with other people, you can both get on it and edit. So, avocados. So there's different types of like templates and different ways to share and collaborate. And yeah. So I've used it a couple of times. Not in conjunction with anyone yet, but I do hope to eventually give it a shot. Yeah.
I did a little work with Adobe After Effects when we had subscribed to it, and it's like an addition to Premiere to work with like in 3D space. So you could bring in 3D models and having things like transform in 3 dimensions as opposed to like in Final Cut, it's more of like shrinking and expanding to make something look like it's going in and out. But in one of the biggest elements with After Effects is that it'll actually shift it for you and you treat it as 3 dimensions. So one of my goals is to learn some more extended techniques of like 3D environment. So I think it'd be really fun to like take a drawing or something that a resident has made or one of their toys even and turn it into a 3D object and then manipulate it in the video somehow. Like maybe wherever they're looking is where the object goes. That's part of some extended techniques of that. As opposed to what we've done before is just green screen it and kind of make it like a puppet. It'd be 2 different ways of doing it, but I kind of like the idea of the control that you could have when working with like 3D objects. Yeah. Or taking like their favorite TV characters or
incorporating that into. Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah. But we're not doing Adobe anymore, so I would like to look at the Apple version, which is Motion. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But
yeah.
Another project for me.
Yeah. And also another thing to keep in mind when making these videos is, sometimes with, current video trends going on, like whatever's famous on YouTube or TikTok or Snapchat or whatever, it's easy to be like, oh, we should do this with our client because that's what, they relate to and that's what they've been watching. But it's also, you have to be mindful about how they might be portrayed while filming and what your intent is behind it.
Who are you doing it for? You're doing it for you, or are you doing it like, oh, this, are you putting your client like as a pedestal and promoting them because you think it's cool, or is it something that they themselves want to do? So So I think keeping that in check as you would as a therapist naturally can help navigate some of those questions. But I think it's always healthy to ask that question, who am I making this video for?
All right.
Fun? All right.
Yeah.
I'll probably do some of this editing tomorrow
Do it.
morning.
Sounds good. Cool. Thank you, James.
No problem, Gabby. Thank you.